Hey guys, I'm here. Welcome back to a new video. Now today, we're going on to game week 10 of our Premier League predictions. Before we find out what games we're going to talk about, I want to hit the scores on the doors from last week.
Well, I tell you what, Seb on golf, what a brilliant guest he was.
Yeah.
10 points, which is really good.
That's class.
Thogdad, 10 points. Usually that would win it.
Yeah.
But Thogden got 12 points.
Hooray! He's done it again! He's done it again! Come on, the boys!
And
we all did so well, by the way. Double figures for all three guests.
Absolutely brilliant.
Like, that never happens.
No.
That's the first time ever, surely.
It is the first time ever, and the scores on the doors are Guest 54, Thogdad 59, Thogden 64.
Running away with it, mate. No one can catch me. Right, before we get into the first game, what's the like target today, Dad?
Come on, let's smash 8,000 likes.
Let's get it done. Run up the numbers, subscribe. It always helps us when you do those things. Completely free to do. And yeah, let's get on to the first game.
Crystal Palace versus Newcastle, 11th versus 15th. Now, these are two teams who lost last week, Theo.
Yeah.
What's going to happen here?
I've got a feeling this isn't going to be a classic. When these two teams play each other, it usually ends 1-0 and to whoever's at home.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that.
Oh my goodness, it's one of those weeks where we all say the same thing, isn't it?
It probably will be. Maybe not. I don't know yet. But I'm going to go 1-0 Palace, Zaha to score.
Wow, big shout. Let me ask you, Newcastle, are they going to stay up this season?
Yes, they will.
Ooh,
I've said it.
He hesitated.
I did, because you predict them to lose 1-0 to Palace.
Yeah.
It's difficult to then come out with a solid answer saying they're staying up.
Yeah.
I do think Newcastle have the team, but on current form, Newcastle have been poor. And even the Geordies will agree with me on that.
Absolutely. Now, I agree. This is going to be 1-0, but what does our guest think?
Hello and thank you, Thogden, for having me on this channel. Really appreciate that. And yeah, buzzing for these Premier League predictions. So let's go. So the first game that we're going to be looking at is Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. I don't think Newcastle have been in too much of great form. Neither of Palace since losing to Burnley recently. I'm going to say it's a draw. You know, 0-0. Crystal Palace 0, Newcastle 0.
And the next game is Brighton and Hove Albion in 16th against Liverpool in 2nd. Now, both teams won last week. Brighton, a good win against Villa, but Tariq Lamptey, what are you doing getting those 2 yellow cards?
Everybody had him on fantasy. I mean, if you did tell us in the comments, we did. That -1 did not look good. But I tell you, Liverpool, they looked dodgy against Atalanta.
Yes.
And I think it was the fullbacks, because although Liverpool won against Leicester and they looked brilliant, they won 3-0, it's because they had Andy Robertson and James Milner at fullbacks.
Yes.
In the Atalanta game, it was Neco Williams and Tsimikas at fullbacks. And they just didn't look ready. They didn't have that experience that they did in the Leicester Premier League game. So Liverpool want to come back with a result, won't they?
They will, Theo, but that's Europe. And last weekend against Leicester, Liverpool, second team, were absolutely superb.
And it was a great 3-0 win as well. And James Milner, what a backup to have at right back. He was brilliant. I thought he was my man of the match, to be honest. I didn't expect such a good performance. And if they could do something similar against Brighton on the weekend, they're going to have no doubts as to whether they're going to win the game. Hence why I'm going for a Brighton 0, Liverpool 2 prediction. What about you?
That's a big shout. I think Brighton will find a goal from somewhere.
Okay.
Maybe that man Danny Welbeck.
I'm not too sure because Lamptey's out and he's actually a big part of them going forward.
Yeah.
And the likes of Neil Maupay have just been on rubbish form lately. I'm selling him in fantasy and getting him out of it. So I'm going to go Liverpool 2-0.
Well, I'm going to go Liverpool 2-1.
Okay. Interesting. At least we're going different.
Right, next is Brighton versus Liverpool. I don't think Brighton have got too much that they can do to handle against Liverpool. It's going to be a 3-0 win for Liverpool, in my opinion.
And now it's 13th against 17th, up to Lancashire, two struggling teams, Man City and Burnley.
Correct.
Now, Burnley, what a win they had last weekend. That was important, wasn't it, Theo?
Yeah, they needed to get a win, and they did just that. And City actually looked comfortable over in Greece in their Champions League 1-0 win. Olympiacos away can be a very difficult fixture. And Rafinha getting a little scrap with Sterling. You love that bit of passion, don't you?
Yeah. But Manchester City need to kickstart their Premier League campaign.
Yeah, let's not forget they lost 2-0 to Spurs in that game where Son scored early doors and Pep just looked like he didn't have any plan B.
Yes, now this is a chance to have a cricket score, isn't it? I think a lot of people will bring in the likes of Kevin De Bruyne into their FPL teams. And I kind of agree. I think this will be 3-0.
You're going 3-0.
Yeah.
I think City are a little bit more, they don't score as many goals this season, but they do get big wins in games when they need it like this. And I think it's going to be 2-0. So it's good we're going different. But like you said, Dad, it wouldn't surprise me if De Bruyne gets goal and assist.
Right, next is Man City versus Burnley. I think that Man City will win this one. I think it's going to be a comfortable 2-0 win for Man City.
And now for Everton against Leeds, 6th against 14th, Lancashire against Yorkshire. And Everton 3-2 last game week. DCL came up with the goals again, didn't he, Theo?
He did. Calvert-Lewin, I thought he'd have a drop off of form. The guy simply produces every single week. Now, one thing to take into account, Everton did still concede 2 goals to Fulham.
Yes.
It wasn't like a thrashing 3-0. It was a 3-2 win. And, it was important goals from Calvert-Lewin, but also 2 big assists from Digne.
Yeah.
Guess what's happened to him? He's injured for 4 months? And that is a massive miss for Everton.
That is an absolute shocker. And Leeds United, what do you think about their recent form, Theo?
Well, you say the 0-0 versus Arsenal, they did look the better team, but it was weird, right? Because as soon as Pepe got sent off, Arsenal then became looking like they were the better side. It was really weird. Like, Leeds should have gone out there and won that game once the red card came in for Arsenal, but they didn't. So I don't really know what to say about Leeds. Klitsch came out in the post and said that basically, if we survive this season, that's our goal. That's what Bielsa has told us to do. And I think they will. But in this Everton game, I'm going to go Everton 2, Leeds 1.
Yes, and I'm just going to agree with you. And I think Calvert-Lewin might shine. So much so, he's my captain on Saturday.
Really? That's a big statement. I might go for the same. Interestingly, the last time Everton and Leeds played was in 2003. That's insane.
Wow.
17 years since these two faced each other.
No way.
Man.
All right, next is Everton versus Leeds. Now, this one will be a little bit tricky because Everton have slightly lost their edge at the title race. You've got Leeds United, who got a good draw against Arsenal. In fact, it was a good draw for Arsenal, if anything. I'm gonna say Everton 2, Leeds United 1.
West Bromwich Albion against Sheffield United, 19th against 20th, and what a bargain basement clash this is, Theo.
Dad, in terms of importance for the teams, this is probably the biggest game of the week.
I know.
Because both these teams are right down the bottom and need to scrap points from anywhere.
I know. I tell you what, these teams, they've got 4 points between them in 18 games.
That's
and
crazy.
10 goals. That's ridiculous.
Dad, they just don't find ways through, especially for the Blades.
Yeah.
And I want to speak about them because Chris Wilder had a team last year that just had momentum on their side. The fans loved it. They were playing football in Champions League, Europa League spots.
Yeah.
What's gone wrong this year? I just don't know.
Yes, I agree, Theo. And actually, talking about West Brom, one of the fans asked me, will we go all season without winning? I'm going to say no, because you're going to win on Saturday, 1-0.
No way.
Yes.
You're going for the win.
West Brom to win 1-0.
I wouldn't write off the Blades like that, Dad. They're also going to be going for a massive 3 points as well. And something tells me both teams are just going to be a little bit too cagey to lose. I'm going for a draw, 1-1. And I think I'm going to be right on this one.
Do you know, that is a very good shout, Theo. That was my first prediction, and I changed it to a West Brom win at the last minute.
Okay, I'm going to say Carlin Grant to score for West Brom.
Right, next is West Brom versus Sheffield United. To be honest, I'm just going to say 0-0 for this because I just think both of these sides are playing poor at the moment.
And now this is going to be a good one. Southampton against Man United, 5th against 10th. And Southampton 11 points in 5 games. But Man United also finding a bit of form, Theo.
Exactly. You know, Southampton last time out got the Wolves 1-1 draw. How did they play in that? Theo Walcott, first game since what? It was like before he joined last time. What was the stat? 2006 or something?
I know,
crazy.
Brilliant. And I tell you what, Southampton, as we've said every week, are really good this season. And they're going to make a game of this. Now, United weren't too brilliant against West Brom. And a lot of people think they were gifted a win by the referee.
Well, Dad, Bruno's 6 key passes. And they still didn't find a way of getting a second goal. From open play. I mean, the only goal came from the penalty spot. It's not a problem. It's just something to think about. Martial's off form. Cavani probably should have scored. The players around Bruno should be doing better.
They should start playing, Theo. Let's be honest. Martial has been terrible for club and country. Put the ball in the net. It's not that hard. You're getting brilliant service line.
But Dad, let's not forget how they did in the Champions League midweek.
Yes.
They got a decent result, didn't they?
They did, Theo. Now, the form books say that Southampton might win this one or draw. But you know what? I'm just going with kind of emotion and history, really. Southampton 1, Man United 2.
You're going 2-1?
Yes.
That is very interesting. You see, when it comes into this game, I do think Southampton being at home will get a goal from somewhere, and I agree with you, Dad. United will score 2. I'm sure they'll find a pen from somewhere, and hopefully start scoring goals, well, more goals from open play. I'm also going Saints 1, Man United 2.
Right, next is Southampton versus Man United. You see, this is a game I could see Man United actually losing, and I'm going to be bold here. I'm going to say Southampton 1, Man United 0. It's a bold, bold shout.
And now for a cracking London derby. Chelsea against Tottenham Hotspur, 3rd against 1st, and both teams won convincingly last week, Theo.
Dad, both these teams, this is a derby in itself, right? But both these teams look really good.
Yes.
You know, they both could be Premier League title contenders. And that's what makes this derby so special coming up this weekend.
I know. Heung-min Son scored again after everyone sold him.
I know, crazy.
Tell you what, but Chelsea, the sort of form they've got, I've actually put a bet on them winning the league.
Wow. Well, you could say the same about Spurs. You could say the same about Spurs. Jose Mourinho versus Frank Lampard again. On paper, over the records, Frank Lampard has a better record against him. However, anything could happen on the day. Spurs have just beaten Man City, and a few years ago they were undefeatable. So anything could happen. Jose Mourinho wants a big Derby Day win, and with the likes of Son, Kane, Bale, and if them all three play, it could be dangerous.
Yeah, and that Spurs win over Man City was a Jose masterclass. I thought absolutely brilliant. But I'm going to sit on the fence and just say 1-1.
1-0 you're going for?
Yeah.
Before I talk about my prediction, I have to say, Chelsea were drawing 1-0 very late against Stade Rennes, and then Giroud, the bagsman Giroud, got an amazing goal.
What a header.
Oh, what a header.
Honestly, that was worthy of Thogden. You know, that was
Yeah. He's been taking lessons from him. But what I'm saying is, Dad, if this game late on is cagey, it's 1-0, bring on Giroud. Brilliant super sub to have.
That is a really good shout.
I'm just saying. Tottenham midweek got a massive 4-0 win over Ludogorets, so they've been knocked in. They look good. And by the way, have you seen Harry Winks' goal?
I haven't. Was it good?
Oh my God. It was insane. Right, I'm going to go for a draw as well as you, Dad, but a few more goals because there's just too much quality on the pitch. Chelsea 2, Spurs 2.
Oh, right. The big game. Chelsea versus Tottenham. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This is probably the most nervous I've felt in terms of Tottenham and title contenders in the same sentence. This game could go either way. The problem is we are without Toby Alderweireld at the moment, so that worries me. Can our defence be able to keep the fine line against players with the likes of Ziyech and Werner? I'm going to be optimistic here. I'm going to say Chelsea 1, Tottenham 2. Big shout, but I'm willing to take it.
And now for Arsenal against Wolverhampton Wanderers, a mid-table clash, 12th against 9th. Now, Arsenal have only won 1 in 5 games, and they've only scored 9 goals in the league this season. What's going wrong there?
A playmaker in the midfield for me. And also the fact that Partey and El Neni were out for the last game, that had a big effect on their midfield.
Yes.
And it's just not clicking yet for Arsenal and Arteta. Do you think they're going to go away with the win this week?
Well, you know what? This could be a really low-scoring game because Wolves have also only scored 9 goals. And you've got players on that pitch, Jimenez, Aubameyang, Lacazette. How can there be so few goals from those two teams?
Last time out in the Premier League, though, the Leeds 0-0 game, Arsenal didn't look that great. And Nicolas Pepe, so immature with the red card, wasn't he?
That was an absolute disgrace. It was premeditated. He thought about it a few seconds before. Don't do that again, pal.
Yeah, it was just stupid. There was no need for it. It was building up tension. He should have just chilled out and let himself relax. He didn't. Lost it in the head, mate.
Yeah, but I tell you what, the abuse he got online afterwards, that's not called for. I'm just going to sit on the fence again and go 1-1.
That's very interesting. Aubameyang, what's happened to him this season? Where's his form? I have to say, though, some of the new boys came in the Arsenal Molde game in the 3-0 where Balogun scored. That's a bit of potential there. Listen, if you need a goal from somewhere, bring on the youth. They will want it. They have the energy and the passion to go for it. So late on, if they need it versus Wolves, I would bring them on. But I'm going to go 1-1 because Wolves are a very good team. They sit out nicely, back three, a back five system with wing backs in it. It's just comfortable. They know how to play ball. And they're going to go to the Emirates and get a draw for me. So 1-1.
Arsenal versus Wolves. Now, Arsenal are kind of due a win here, and Wolves have been fairly poor as well, especially with their recent draw against Southampton, I believe it was. You know what? I'm going to just be nice on this one. I'm going to say Arsenal 2, Wolves 1. I would say.
And now it's 4th against 18th. Leicester City against Fulham. Now both of these sides got hit for 3 goals last week, didn't they?
It's true. I have to mention midweek straight away for Leicester. A 3-3 draw against Braga. A Vardy 95th minute goal. That game seemed like pure mayhem.
Yeah.
But Leicester will still go through. I think they've got enough in that group to go through to the knockout stages of the Europa League. I'd love Leicester on a cheeky run. But the Premier League, with Brendan Rodgers, they've been doing amazing, haven't they?
They certainly have. And they're playing a Fulham team that have only got 4 points all season.
Wow.
So one would expect Jamie Vardy to have a party, Athea.
Yeah, well, he scored last minute of the last game against Braga, so I'm sure he'll get back to scoring fashion in the Premier League. What's your score prediction?
I'm going for 2-0 to Leicester.
Interesting. I'm going to give Fulham a goal simply because they've got Ademola Lookman, your man. And they've got Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who did well against Everton with, I think, an assist. He had a good game as well. I'm going to go Leicester 2, Fulham 1. Interesting.
Right, next is Leicester City versus Fulham. I think this will be a comfortable win for Leicester. It's going to be Leicester 3, Fulham 1.
And now for two teams in very comfortable positions, West Ham United and Aston Villa, 8th against 7th there. That's pretty good, isn't it?
I know, they both don't really need the points.
Yeah.
At the start of the season, both of these, if they knew where they'd be after 9 game weeks, they'd both be absolutely loving life. That's the thing.
That is true. Now, West Ham have just won 2 on the bounce. Villa have actually lost 3 of the last 4 there.
That's the thing, but they had an unbelievable start, and that's the reason they were doing so well. Well, they look good in the table now. I mean, is it worry time for Villa? Are they going to go lose again, do you reckon?
Not yet, because they're not going to get relegated.
You reckon?
At the start of the season, that was the worry, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now, I think this could be actually a pretty good game.
The thing is, Dad, since Ross Barkley's got injured for Villa, they look a little bit reliant on Jack Grealish.
Yes.
And that is the same they did last season when they relied on him to keep them up. Are we going back to a relegation fighting type Aston Villa, or will we see the likes of Ollie Watkins step up? You know, the new signings, Matty Cash as well, just go for it and get involved in the attacks?
Well, I think Villa will be sort of lower mid-table by the end of the season,
Seriously.
to be quite honest, which is very respectable given the resources they've got. And in this game, I'm going with home advantage.
Wow.
2-1 to West Ham.
Okay, I'm going to go 1-1 because I just think both these teams are at such a similar standard right now.
Yeah.
I think Grealish will bring in a point, and you know it's important Villa try and stop their losses, and it's going to be tough, but I think it will come. But David Moyes will get a point too because West Ham are just on great form, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, and the last one is West Ham versus Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa were very unlucky against Brighton. Meanwhile, West Ham have been pulling some decent results here and there. I don't want West Ham to win. I'm going to say, honest prediction-wise, I think Aston Villa could get this win. I'm going to say West Ham 0, Aston Villa 1. Those are my predictions. Cheers once again, Thogden, for having me on the channel.
Right, that is all the games. Looking forward to him. The Premier League is back, the weekend is back, and that is just, it's a double whammy, isn't it?
And we're going to be live streaming a couple of games, so join us for that.
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday, don't miss those games. Chelsea Spurs will be a definite. And get notifications on the channel. Make sure you like to hit Thogdad's like target, which was
8,000.
And subscribe, trying to hit 425,000 subs on the channel. Let's get this done. Right, enjoy your weekend. We will see you all very soon. Follow the predictions. I'll be right, I'm telling you now. Bye.